Hello, Internet. Hello, Internet. It's your pal, Vince Schuld. And, you know what? Today, I've actually got some pretty interesting news for you. Yes, that's right. Those other weeks, I mean, let's be honest, that wasn't really that interesting, was it? So I'm going to try to make up for it a little bit tonight. And, we got some pretty interesting stories that if you're interested in trance, or maybe you're not. Maybe you just want to come over and look at what I'm doing over here. Just check out the operation, you know? Check out the studio. Well, anyways, before we get started, I was going to say, if you guys are enjoying any of these videos, or if you're enjoying any of my original music, please go to my SoundCloud, give me a follow. Go to Spotify, Amazon, Amatunes. It's all one corporation, man. Anyways, this first thing that I was going to talk about was, you guys have probably noticed it, but this whole Dash Berlin story. It's kind of interesting because I've never met Jeffrey Sartorius, but I have had some friends that have met him. And I don't know, friends that I trust them and their opinions, but they haven't really they've opened up for him at shows, and he's kind of just been treated them a little bit disrespectfully, and so that's interesting. But I mean, people always say that about whomever. Like if you're talking about, oh, Brad Pitt, I don't like him, man. He only tipped me $40, or you know what I'm talking about. Like people are just so. Oh, I went up to him in public while he was eating dinner, and he wasn't nice to me. Yeah, dude, he was eating one food. You know, it's just, it's like, dude, you're going to come up to somebody in public. I've already told you guys that if I ever make it big, I'm never talking to any of you ever again. So, anyways, just go to my SoundCloud, give me a follow, and just listen to some of my new music. As always, this video is brought to you by Ford. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Have you driven a Ford? When was the last time you had the kind of car to bring the road alive? Have you driven a Ford? And you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford? Driven a Ford? Have you driven a Ford lately?
So this Jeffrey Sartorius story is actually pretty interesting because there's kind of a situation where his booking agency was, I don't know, overbooking him and treating him poorly, and he was not very well rested. See what I mean about these damn bugs in here? It's crazy. These guys are... But they were treating him poorly, and he was not well rested. And I don't know if he backed out on some shows or they were booking him last minute for shows and he couldn't continue. But if you guys don't know, Dash Berlin, I guess, is the face of, or Jeffrey Sartorius is the face of Dash Berlin, but he doesn't produce any of the music. I don't think he produces any of it. From what I've come to understand, that's the other two guys. LK and Sebastian, they do most of the production, and what's interesting is they've been around for like 20 years in music production, maybe longer, because I was looking at some of their stuff, LK and Sebastian, and they've produced stuff for like Alice DJ, like Better Off Alone. Like they actually produced that, which is crazy because you never know who's producing what, Ghost producing and whatever. I'm not saying that's Ghost production particularly, but it's still pretty interesting because you always think, oh, this is the front person, this is who does it. But anyway, so they had this big to do. I don't know what you call it, but they had a breaking up, and then the other two guys, LK and Sebastian, weren't going to let Jeffrey Sartorius be the face of Dash Berlin anymore. And from there, it gets really, I mean, it's he said, she said, and then back and forth and legal battles and rights to the songs, and it's such a mess. But the one thing that's really interesting about this is, so that they've all decided, hey, we're going to go our own ways. Apparently they buried the hatchet, and this story is pretty interesting because what are they going to do afterwards? Because, okay, obviously LK and Sebastian are going to be fine. They're experts when it comes to production, and they've produced some of the coolest songs ever. But I mean, some of that old Dash Berlin stuff too is just, oh, it's amazing. And a few years ago, I remember listening to some Dash Berlin, and it was some of that newer stuff. Oh, it's what a typical fan, right? Oh, the newer stuff sucks, man. Their older stuff, is sold out. But no, the newer stuff I've made fun of it to my friends, and like this is for, I don't know. It's just I just thought it was lame, and I don't know since all those connections have been kind of, all the wires have been touching in that group. Who knows what's been going on behind the scenes? But what is Jeffrey Sartorius going to do now that he's the face of Dash Berlin? Is he just going to play live? Is he going to hire new producers? Has he learned production? It's just funny because everybody thinks that, he's putting all this work in. And yeah, he's going to the shows, and that's a lot of work. But without the original music, I mean, let's not kid around. I mean, nobody would know who Dash Berlin is. But it's weird because Dash Berlin's one of those groups one of those names that even people that aren't in trance or in dance music, they kind of know some of those songs, which is, that's kind of cool because this doesn't happen with many people. Like what? Robert Miles, everybody knows, Children, Fable. Did you know that song Fable? Robert Miles, I think, did a lot of the soundtrack for that movie Ever After with, what's her name? I forgot her name, but she was in Ever After. Drew Barrymore, I believe that was it. And the soundtrack is really good. I got stuck. I watched the preview like 40 times in a row because that song Fable was on it. And I just listened to it over and over and over again. And I don't know. I just like it. Does it ever trip you guys out to think... Does it ever trip you guys out to think... I was just talking about this with a friend, like... You used to be, no matter who, if you were watching this video, you used to be microscopically sized. For sure. You were the size of a cell, of a bacteria, less smaller than that. And you got shot like a cannon from a pirate ship cannon, out of a cannon, through a penis, into a vagina, and then you grew from there. I know it's not exactly how it works. I think you kind of meet in the middle. Like the guy just doesn't just have kids. Once it hits the eggs, guys, I don't know what I'm talking about, but once it hits the egg, it kind of like it's half and half. Like you can't have one without the other, which I thought was pretty interesting. But you used to be microscopically sized, and you were shot. Isn't that crazy? You were shot out of a penis like a Mediterranean pirate ship cannon blasted into someone's vagina. That's awesome. That is so cool. And I think that's, I mean, maybe that's why, maybe a lot of us were just happy to be here, because after that kind of, it's dangerous just getting shot around, blasted around like that. Another interesting thing I was going to talk about is Ferry Corsten. And Ferry Corsten's one of those names that everybody in trance loves, right? Everybody does. But outside of dance music and trance, relatively unknown. And I was talking to this guy. He's, I don't know, I was at this club. I was at the Mid, whatever, of course, right? And he's like, oh, Ferry, sometimes he does like pop stuff, It's like who? Like, who knows him from his pop stuff? Like, Taylor Swift fans? Like, who does it? Like, I want to know, because it seems like nobody, I don't know. I don't buy that. Like, maybe it was a mainstream a little bit, but pop, I don't know. But anyways, he's got this cool project called the Unity Project, in which he's meeting up with other artists. I think like the likes of Artie under his Alpha 5 moniker, Paul Oakenfold, and he's kind of like trying to push people out of their comfort zones and try to do something different. And I thought that was really interesting because trance is one of those genres that it just gets a little bit, I don't want to say stale, because that can happen to any genre, but it's kind of like metal, where it's like metal people, the fans are so passionate about what they're doing that they kind of if it's not exactly metal or exactly trance, they're like, that's not metal, that's not trance, and they kind of rebel against whatever they're listening to, but even if it's a little bit different. But how do you push the genre? How do you push the genre, you know, if you can't expand your horizons or like push the envelope a little bit? And he's kind of taking these artists and he's trying to I guess the Unity project is like, you have the 140 sound, and then you have like the 128 sound, the progressive trance sound. So like he's trying to bridge the gap a little bit. And it's funny because it seems like everybody's either 128, 138, 140. And there's a big difference between those two. I mean, if you're just starting out listening to dance music, listen to trance, you're probably not gonna be on the 138 route. I mean, it's fast. It's really intense. I mean, unless it's really, I guess like Children is 138 from Robert Miles, but you know what I mean? I mean, people aren't just drawn to that like all in, that like pounding pedal to the metal sound, especially right off the bat. But this is interesting because that's what he's going to be doing. It's called the Unity Project. So, and I think he's got a few songs out already. One that he did with the Narnia guy, which I don't know about that dude, but whatever. I mean, the song was kind of cool. It's really kind of progressive, kind of a different sound. But I believe it was like off of his old, I think it was a remix of one of his old songs, Galaxia, which I don't know. I mean, it was cool, but it's just a different sound, and I really appreciate that because nobody's doing anything different nowadays. It seems like everybody is just trying to be safe and just trying to like play off what they know and play off what people know, but it shows. It shows because people aren't taking chances, and they're afraid to take chances because if they do and they don't succeed in taking the chance, people get upset. And if you're listening, if you read the comments, don't read the comments, dudes, guys. If you're, it's just a madhouse out there. It's crazy. Anyways, that's all I've got for this week. But if you guys are, like I said, if you guys are liking these videos, if you're liking any of my original music, please go to my SoundCloud. I'm doing a show in Tempe next week at Shady Park, and I'm opening up for, who the hell am I opening up for? Gareth Emery. So come down, check it out, please. It's going to be a good time. Plus, if you're looking for something different, I also have a second project called The Everything, which is more like rock, dark wave, synth wave, whatever. I just something different where I can and just kind of try different ideas out. And go to that. I'll put the link down below. Anyways, thanks for checking it out. Anyways, that's it. Love you guys. Thanks. Bye.